verify what our last station told us about the radio?
Oh, yeah. What more to say? Yeah, the Browning Eagle, the national bird, six knobs on the receiver and three on the transmitter. The wonderful on-the-air light, Earth lamp, delightful to look at, and great radio. Even after months and months of owning it, still a joy.
All right, well, sure it'll be that way after many years of enjoying it. And, he was on the classic Electro Voice style banana microphone, and sounding quite nice, and yours also sounding good. I wonder what microphonium you have affixed to the front of the transmitter.
Well, I'm using the inappropriate microphone, of course. I'm using a Turner Plus 2 microphone, powered microphone. Not apparently not quite as appropriate as a D104, but it's fun. It's different than the other radio I have, and hopefully it sounds halfway decent.
No, it sounds very good. That's why I asked. You're doing a good job, and the Plus 2s tended to have a little bit more bass response, and with that radio, that's probably a good thing. So no need for shame. It sounds good, and any microphonium that is making that plate modulated radio do what it is doing like that is a good thing. Radio number 2 is also the Browning R27S23 Eagle. Give us another transmission, Mike, and then we will move on to our next radio operator.
As always, a great pleasure for a Saturday evening. No other place to be to a 7085. Back to you, Tierra, and thank you.
And thank you. Waiting for the static to go away here at Net Control, the old Tube Radio Network. Real radios glowing in the dark. The vintage CB radio. SWL 46 is standing by with his vintage radio. Steve, tell us what you got. Over.
Good evening, Dennis. B&K, CAM 88, 1964.
All right, from 2011 to 1964. Man, that has one snap down on the relay when it keys up. I'm listening on headsets, and it's spine tingling when that radio keys up over here. Give us another blast on the Cobra.
Thank you, sir. Good old D104 at its finest. Thank you, sir.
And the classic Cobra CAM 88 audio, just full fidelity, nice and loud, and not distorted. Yeah, this is back in the days before the FCC started requiring modulation limiters and clippers and things like that. You get a tube radio or a plate modulation, and if you talk louder, it gets louder. What a novel idea, and one of the reasons that we like these radios and the operators do too. Steve, doing a good job on the Cobra. One more key down on radio number 3, and we'll be listening.
Thank you, Dennis, very much. We appreciate it. Nice old radio. I enjoy collecting them. Take care. Good evening.
And we're glad you bring the collections by on a Saturday night. Man, that has one heck of a snap on the key down there. Definitely waking me up. The Old Tube Radio Network. We are standing by listening for the glow-in-the-dark radios.
Welcome to us.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's a 56. Hello there, Phil. We're going to put you down as Radio 4. Tell us what you brought to the program this evening.
Okay, well, my meters aren't very happy, but if you can hear me, that's all that counts, over.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Sounds like you might. Oops, gotta watch where I touch here. I'll throw myself off the air. Sounds like you might be on one of the 1011 series, over.
Yes, indeed. Let me give a little tweak here, if you can bear with me for just a second. Maybe I can bring this to be a little happier. Anyway, well, you can hear me. Yes, indeed. This is actually a Swan 1011. It's the radio that garnered quite a bit of controversy
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, that's not to say that there were amateur radios that had the 11-meter band, and the ones that did, like the E.F. Johnsons and the Vikings and some of the early helicopters, they were produced when the 11-meter band was not Class D and part of the amateur radio service. So in 1958-59, when it was converted over to a Class D citizens radio service, the amateur radio manufacturers deleted the 11-meter mode out of their radios. And then all of a sudden in, when was it, late 60s, Swan, trying to promote some sales, decided to put the 11 meters back in, but of course make it FCC acceptable for Class D service, and they did, and that kind of brought ire to the amateur radio world, who I guess, as some of who were still fuming about losing, if you will, their licensed band to unlicensed operations. So in incognito, Mr. Sammy Lewis and crew decided, well, we've got a good thing here. We know we can sell it. We like our product. We'll just give it another name, and away they went. And they did quite well. So thanks for the Swan 1011, a very rare radio, and we are always enamored to hear here on the old Tube Radio Network. Sounding pretty good. This radio here kind of does the same thing. If I went to the sideband mode, which is phase modulated, I could actually insert some carrier and get very close to the sound that the Swan Siltronics made. I think they were doing a similar thing with carrier insertion. Anyway, I'm talking too much. Let's go back to you, Phil, and give us another transmission on the Swan tonight.
Yes, well, thank you, Dennis. Yes, I'm very pleased to have this radio. It is, in fact, a very rare one. And those that have seen the Swan radios and the Siltronics radios will notice a very remarkable resemblance in the appearance, layout, et cetera, et cetera. With that said, back to OTO, and thank you, Dennis.
All right, real classic radio history here on the Old Tube Radio Net tonight. The Swan 1011, for years here on the Old Tube Radio Network, we talked about them, and the fact that they existed. We checked in many of the Siltronics 1011, the Bs, the Cs, the Comanches, and then Sir, you came up with the Swan 1011 and sort of proved the theory that they actually did exist. Not many were made, but we're glad it's out there. Thank you, Phil. Sounding good on radio number 4 tonight from Swan, the infamous, the one that started it all, the infamous 1011. The Old Tube Radio Network. We are standing by listening.
35.
And 35. Hello, Mr. Bill. I take it you will be radio number 5. Checking out the meters. Signal looks good.
Yeah, I want to check in Dimco satellite.
Oh my gosh, another one of the classics, and one of the ones I remember back from my early days in the 70s of CB radio down in the Los Angeles area, the React station on Channel 9 running a Demco satellite, and pretty much with the audio that thing could produce being heard on most all channels down there in the South Bay area. Your Radio 5, give us a transmission and tell us about one of the classics, the Demco satellite.
Yeah, we got the Dimco power modulator also with it, and it also has the electric eye tube.
That's right. That's right. Wish I had a picture of that one. I think that's a very nice looking radio. Very impressive. And you see the picture. And the Demco modulator was sold. It's a separate box that you connect to the radio. I guess you put the microphone to the Demco modulator, the modulator to the radio, but you could buy those as a separate entity and run it on other radios, and they worked quite well to give you that extra audio boost. I like the way you've got that one set up tonight. It's not overdone. It's just very mellow, but it's got that Demko punch over it.